I really like the Speedmaster. I like looking at the dial and the subdials. I like the feel of the Jubilee-like bracelet. I like the touch of the sharp yet curvy case. I keep on liking the whole package until I don't anymore, until I get bored with it and go back to the Daytona. The Speedmaster has no color, it has no weight on the wrist, and it's not gold. Wearing a full gold Daytona is just a whole different experience. The solid feeling on the wrist, the ostentatious shine of yellow gold, and the sporty but still compact case size. I put this Speedmaster away a few months ago in its original box in the back of the closet, out of sight and out of the watch rotation. But it gradually started to creep back into my mind. I gradually started to get drawn back into it. And with the attention coming with the new Speedmaster in white dial, that tipped me over the edge to bring back the Speedmaster and put it back on the wrist. And after a few months of not seeing it and not wearing it, it feels like a new watch again. It feels almost like putting it on for the first time. I purchased this in 2022 from the AD, full price, no discount. I had the 38mm version previously, but that felt slightly too small for a chronograph watch. Then they came out with this redesigned tapered bracelet on the Speedmaster Professional, and that persuaded me to try it out. I went with the Hesselite version. This one has a printed dial instead of applied indices. The domed plasticky feeling crystal that gives you a nice distortion when viewing the dial at an extreme angle. The closed caseback and the all brushed bracelet. It has an automatic 3861 movement. I like to keep the chronograph hand running just to watch the hand sweep across the dial. The tip of the chronograph hand extends all the way to the edge, and it even seems to curve down into the dial at the end. The case only has a water resistance of 100 meters, but I have no problem wearing this in the rain. The 42mm case does wear large on me, but the lug-to-lug distance is still wearable. And this is where the bracelet shines. The more aggressive taper of the bracelet makes up for the large size of the watch head, so it makes the watch more wearable for small wrists. Essentially, Omega expanded the range of wrists that can wear the Speedmaster. But the new clasp has only 2 positions for micro adjustment, and the links are very difficult and time consuming to remove. I have no trouble removing links from an Oyster bracelet or Jubilee bracelet, but when I tried it on the Speedmaster bracelet, it took me 30 to 40 minutes just to remove some links. It has very tiny screw-on caps that are very difficult to grasp and align into the holes on the side. So you're much better off letting the AD add or remove links as needed. I do like how small the clasp is, but the very minimal micro adjustment may be the biggest downside of this watch. It has only 2 positions for micro adjustment, which are very close to each other. The bracelet also has a significant bend right out of the box, which I hope doesn't get much worse over time. Looking at the dial, it might seem like it would look too busy, but it's not, and the time is surprisingly legible to read. And there's plenty of sufficient detail in the subdials to appreciate if you look close enough. The chronograph pushers have a nice, crisp clicking action when pressed, and they don't need to be unscrewed like the Daytona. The black aluminum bezel is thinner than the Daytona, but it still works well with the overall Speedmaster design. I also have nothing bad to say about the case design. It's a mix of curves and sharp edges, and the layered lugs make the case length shorter, and the case is not overly thick. With all that said, with all the positivity of the Speedmaster, then why did I relegate it to the back of the closet for so many months? And this isn't the first time this happened. The same thing happened the year before. I was wearing the watch, I was enjoying the watch. Then I eventually started to get bored of it, and I moved on to my other Rolex. I put away the Speedmaster until it started calling out again. What is it about the Speedmaster that causes my interest to fade over time? Maybe it's because it's monochromatic, but this doesn't happen with my black bezel Submariner. Maybe because it's just too big for my wrist, but then again, the Submariner is also a big watch. So it's really hard to say why I take long breaks away from the Speedmaster. It almost got to the point of considering to sell the Speedmaster, but I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad I always seem to get drawn back to the Speedmaster.